You are about to discover a secret so rare that most men will go their entire lives without ever understanding it. This is no clickbait, no long stories, just a straightforward doorway to the secret and how to apply it in real life. By the time you finish watching this video, you will know how to talk to women without anxiety, how to enter their minds without forcing anything, and how to make them genuinely look forward to the next time they see you or hear from you. No lines, no tricks, no acting, just understanding. Right now, imagine this. There's you, and there's the woman you want to talk to. What do you say? Before we answer those questions, we need to remove the biggest mistake men make when talking to women: overthinking. Hello, I'm Mary Smith, host of the Mindful Senior Living YouTube channel. Today, I want to guide you through something deeper than pickup tactics or surface level advice. We're going to talk about psychology, emotional positioning, inner presence, because the truth is attraction begins long before words do. And I want to pause right here and speak directly to you. If you've ever felt your heart race before approaching a woman, if you've replayed conversations in your head afterward, thinking, why did I say that? You are not alone. So many good, intelligent, kind men struggle not because they're inadequate, but because no one ever taught them how attraction actually works beneath the surface. So take a breath with me. This isn't about becoming someone else. It's about understanding human psychology so you can relax into who you already are. Now let's shift your perspective. The first thing you must understand and truly internalize is this: she is just a human being, nothing more. She eats. She sleeps. She gets insecure. She overthinks. She doubts herself. She worries about how she looks in certain lighting. She replays things she said last week and wonders if they sounded foolish. Do not place her on a pedestal just because she's attractive. You've heard that advice before, but hearing it is not enough. You must feel it. Psychologically, when you put someone on a pedestal, you immediately lower your own perceived status in your mind. And human interaction is deeply influenced by perceived status and value. Research in social psychology consistently shows that people respond to how you see yourself. Your internal narrative shapes your external behavior. If you internally believe, she's out of my league, your body language, tone, and pacing will subtly communicate that insecurity. From now on, every time you speak to a beautiful woman, I want you to remember this moment. Tell yourself she is just a human being, not above you, not below you, equal. Now, here comes the second mindset shift, and this one is more uncomfortable. You must see yourself as being above her, not below her. And before you misunderstand me, this is not about arrogance. It is not about disrespect. It is about inner positioning. Let me explain. In attraction dynamics, especially in early stages, people are subconsciously evaluating emotional strength, emotional leadership, stability. When you see yourself as slightly above, not in worth, you behave differently. You don't seek approval. You don't rush. You don't cling to outcomes. You become the chooser, not the applicant. Think about a job interview. Who talks the most? The applicant. The person trying to prove themselves is in the lower power position. When you talk to a woman while internally trying to impress her, you place her in the evaluator role. So instead of thinking, I hope she likes me, shift to, let's see if I like her. Feel the difference in your body when you say that. That subtle shift changes everything. Now, let's talk about how attraction actually works. Her subconscious mind, the part responsible for emotional bonding, is evaluating you. Neuroscience tells us that emotional processing happens faster than rational processing. The limbic system responds before the prefrontal cortex even forms a logical explanation. That means she feels you before she analyzes you. Attraction is not a conscious decision. It is a subconscious response. This means two very important things. First, women do not choose who they are attracted to in a logical checklist way. Second, they cannot force attraction where it does not exist. Understanding this is the first step to true confidence and connection. Stay mindful, and I'll see you in the next video. Attraction is triggered by emotional cues, confidence, calmness, playfulness, groundedness, not by perfect sentences. Now, imagine her subconscious mind like a radar. The moment you start talking, that radar switches on. It isn't scanning your resume. It isn't grading your vocabulary, it's asking one core question: how does this man see himself? If your internal energy says, I hope I'm good enough, her radar registers insecurity. If your internal energy says, I'm comfortable in my skin, her radar relaxes. And here's something powerful: women are highly attuned to emotional incongruence. If you pretend to be confident, but inside you're desperate for validation, that mismatch creates discomfort. Authentic groundedness, even if slightly imperfect, feels far more attractive than polished insecurity. Now, let's go deeper. Many men think attraction is about impressing. In reality, attraction is about emotional experience. How does she feel in your presence? Does she feel pressured or does she feel at ease? Does she feel interviewed or does she feel understood? This brings us to conversation. Most men freeze because they think they need the perfect topic. But the real goal of conversation is not brilliance, it's connection. Here's the formula I want you to remember: 50% about her, 30% about anything, 20% about you. Let's break this down psychologically. The 50% about her is not interrogation, it is curiosity. Ask about her experiences, her childhood memories, what she enjoys, what she finds challenging. But here's the key: listen to understand, not to respond. Active listening activates emotional bonding. When someone feels heard, oxytocin, the bonding hormone, subtly increases. She begins to associate you with emotional safety. For example, instead of asking, what do you do? And moving on quickly, you might ask, what made you choose that? Then listen, then reflect back. So, you've always been drawn to helping people. That reflection shows depth. Now, the 30% about anything. This is where flow lives. Random observations, playful commentary, light teasing, talk the way you would with a friend you're comfortable with, jump topics, laugh at small absurdities. Emotional fluidity signals comfort. The 20% about you must be delivered with humility and lightness. Never brag. Instead, tell stories that show your humanity. For example, instead of saying, I'm very successful in my field, you might say, I once thought I had everything figured out at 25. Then life kindly humbled me. That vulnerability signals emotional maturity. Now, let's talk about mystery. Mystery is not about lying, it's about pacing information. When you overshare too quickly, there is no space for curiosity. And curiosity is one of the strongest drivers of attraction. If she asks, what are you doing Saturday? You don't need a full itinerary. A simple, I've got something interesting planned, said with a smile, invites intrigue. Curiosity increases cognitive investment. When she wonders about you, she thinks about you. And now, body language. Forget rigid rules. Focus on emotional congruence. If you lean too far forward, hover, or invade space, it can signal overinvestment. Slight physical relaxation, leaning back slightly, moving slowly, maintaining comfortable eye contact, signals calm, confidence. Your nervous system sets the tone. If you are anxious, she feels it. If you are grounded, she relaxes. Here's a practical exercise. Before approaching or meeting a woman, pause for 30 seconds. Breathe slowly. Inhale for 4. Exhale for 6. Longer exhales activate the parasympathetic nervous system, calming your body. When your body is calm, your presence becomes steady. Now, let's address tests. Women often test unconsciously. She may tease you. She may challenge you lightly. She may say, you're probably like every other guy. This is not rejection, it's calibration. She's checking for emotional stability. If you react defensively, you signal fragility. If you smile and say, that would be boring, wouldn't it? You demonstrate strength. Emotional steadiness is deeply attractive. Let me tell you a real life example. A client once told me he panicked when a woman said, you seem too confident. He immediately tried to soften himself, saying, oh no, I'm actually very insecure. Attraction faded. What could he have said? He could have smiled and replied, that's just years of surviving awkward teenage phases. Light, grounded, unshaken. Remember, attraction is not about dominating. It's about emotional leadership. Leadership means you are comfortable guiding the energy of the interaction. You don't rush silences. You don't chase validation. You allow moments to breathe. And here's something most men never hear: women want to relax. Modern life is demanding. Many women carry emotional and professional pressures. When they meet a man who is steady, playful, emotionally mature, and not seeking approval, it feels like relief. Be that relief. Now, I want you to reflect. How often have you tried to impress instead of connect? How often have you spoken too much because silence felt uncomfortable? Silence, when owned calmly, creates tension in a good way. It shows you're not scrambling. If this is resonating with you, pause and type in the comments. I choose confidence. I read your comments and it helps me know what you need more of in future videos. As we close, remember this: attraction is not about perfect words. It is about inner positioning, emotional presence, and grounded self worth. When you stop chasing and start choosing, when you stop performing and start being, when you stop overthinking and start feeling, conversations become lighter. You become magnetic without trying. And women begin to think about you long after the conversation ends, sometimes without even knowing why. And before you click away, I want you to stay with me for a little longer, because what we're about to explore now is where everything truly comes together. Up to this point, we've talked about mindset, emotional positioning, conversation balance, mystery, and tests. But there is one layer that sits underneath all of it, and that layer is identity. Who are you when you walk into a room? Not what you say, not what you wear, not what you've achieved. Who are you emotionally? Because here is something most men never realize: women don't respond to strategies, they respond to identity. If your identity is "I am trying to win her over," your behavior will reflect that. If your identity is "I am a grounded, valuable man who enjoys meeting people," everything changes. Let me tell you a story. A gentleman once shared with me that he used to rehearse lines before dates. He would prepare jokes, prepare stories, prepare impressive facts about himself. And yet, every time he felt exhausted, and strangely, women seemed interested at first, but then something faded. When we explored it deeper, the issue wasn't what he said, it was the energy underneath. He was performing. Performance creates pressure. Pressure creates tension. Tension kills attraction. So I asked him to do something radical. I told him, on your next date, do not try to impress her at all. Go with the mindset that you are simply curious about whether you enjoy her company. He came back shocked. She leaned closer. She laughed more. She asked me questions. She texted me first. What changed? His identity. He stopped auditioning. He started choosing. And I want you to feel the shift right now. Instead of asking yourself, how do I make her like me? Ask, is she someone I genuinely enjoy? That question alone grounds you. Now, let's talk about anxiety, because I know some of you are thinking, Mary, this sounds good, but my body still gets nervous. Of course, it does. Attraction matters to you. Rejection stings. That's human. But anxiety is not the enemy. Misinterpretation is. Psychologically, anxiety and excitement are almost identical in the body. Increased heart rate, alertness, energy. The difference is the story you tell yourself. Instead of "I'm nervous because I might fail," shift to "my body is energized because something meaningful is happening." This reframing is powerful. Research in cognitive psychology shows that labeling arousal as excitement improves performance and confidence. So, the next time your heart beats faster, smile internally and think, good, I'm alive. Now, let's address something deeper. Many men struggle not because they lack skills, but because they fear rejection as a statement about their worth. Listen carefully. Rejection is not a verdict on your value. It is simply a mismatch of preference. Not every woman will feel attracted to you, and that is healthy. In fact, if every woman liked you, you would be neutral, bland, safe. Polarity creates attraction. And polarity means some will feel drawn and some won't. Emotionally mature men understand this. And here's a secret. When you are okay with losing her, you become more attractive to her because non-attachment signals abundance. Abundance is not about having many women. It is about knowing you will be okay no matter the outcome. Now, let's talk about emotional leadership in real time. Imagine you're on a date and there's an awkward silence. Most men rush to fill it. Instead, try this. Hold eye contact gently. Smile slightly. Take a sip of your drink. Let the silence breathe. Silence, when calm, creates tension. Tension creates intrigue. Intrigue builds attraction. But silence, when anxious, creates discomfort. So, the key isn't avoiding silence, it's mastering your nervous system within it. Here's another practical exercise. Practice slowing down your movements. When you reach for your glass, move 10% slower. When you respond, pause half a second longer. When you smile, let it linger. Slower movement signals confidence. Rushed movement signals insecurity. This is subtle, but subtlety is powerful. Now, I want to address something important about respect. Seeing yourself as above in positioning does not mean controlling or diminishing her. True emotional leadership is protective, not dominant. It's grounded, not aggressive. A woman feels safe with a man who is calm under pressure. She feels drawn to a man who does not crumble emotionally. She feels relaxed with a man who does not need constant reassurance. Safety and attraction are deeply connected. And let's correct a common myth. Kindness does not kill attraction. Neediness does. You can be warm. You can be attentive. You can be thoughtful. But when kindness is given to earn approval, it feels heavy. When kindness is given freely, it feels attractive. Can you feel the difference? Now, let's talk about curiosity, one of the most underrated tools in connection. Instead of surface questions, ask layered ones. Not what do you do, but what do you enjoy most about what you do? Not where are you from, but what's something about your hometown that shaped you? Layered questions create emotional depth. But remember, don't interrogate. Let conversation breathe. Share something small about yourself after she shares. That creates reciprocity. For example, if she talks about loving nature as a child, you might say, I used to disappear for hours riding my bike when I was younger. It felt like freedom. Now you're building emotional bridges. And here's something fascinating. Shared emotional states bond faster than shared facts. She may not remember your job title. She will remember how she felt laughing with you. So, prioritize emotional tone over informational content. Now, let's talk about playful challenge, because this is where many men either overdo it or avoid it completely. Light teasing, when done warmly, creates spark. If she says, I'm always late, you might smile and say, so I should tell you dinner is at 6 o'clock when it's actually at 7. Notice the tone. It's gentle, not critical. Playfulness signals comfort. But here's the rule. Tease the behavior, not her identity, and always balance it with warmth. Now, I want to ask you something honest. When you talk to women, are you truly present or are you inside your head evaluating yourself? Presence is rare and rarity is attractive. Practice this while she's speaking. Notice her eye color. Notice her tone shifts. Notice her expressions. This anchors you in the moment. And when you are present, she feels it because presence is felt, not announced. Let's also address long-term attraction briefly. Initial spark gets attention. Emotional consistency builds attachment. If you disappear randomly, act hot and cold without reason, or play games, you create instability. And while instability can create short-term intensity, it rarely builds lasting connection. Consistency builds trust. Trust deepens attraction over time. And here's something powerful for those of you who are older and wiser. With age, emotional steadiness becomes even more attractive. You don't need flashy energy. You need grounded energy. Confidence at 25 can be loud. Confidence at 50 is quiet. Both can attract. But quiet confidence has depth. Now, before we close, I want you to imagine your next interaction. You walk in calm. You breathe slowly. You remember she is human. You see yourself as the chooser. You listen deeply. You speak lightly. You don't overshare. You allow mystery. You smile at tests. You're okay with any outcome. How different would that feel from how you used to approach things? This is not about becoming a different man. It's about removing the insecurity that was never yours to carry. And I want to leave you with this final truth. Attraction grows in the space between certainty and curiosity. Be certain in your worth. Be curious about her. If this opened your eyes even a little, I invite you to like this video. It helps the channel grow and reach men who desperately need healthier guidance. Comment below what part resonated most with you. I genuinely read your reflections. And if you want deeper discussions on emotional intelligence, attraction psychology, and mindful living as a mature, grounded man, subscribe to Mindful Senior Living and turn on notifications. In our next episode, we'll go even deeper into subconscious tests and how to handle emotional shifts without losing your center. Until then, remember this: you do not attract by chasing, you attract by embodying. Stay grounded, stay present,